Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am going over my best of 2023 beauty favorites, but I'm doing it get ready with me style. So in my previous video, I went into depth and detail about all my favorite products of 2023 so far, the best makeup that I have tried, that a lot of them have become holy grails. I feel like I should do an updated holy grail makeup video if you guys are interested in that. But of course, I wanted to show these products in action so you can see how I love to use them in my makeup routine. So if you want to see all my 2023 beauty favorites in action, just keep watching. So I've already gone ahead and primed my eyes. I just used the Rare Beauty Tinted Eye Primer. I really enjoy this. So again, just applied it all over my lids. And for the eyeshadow, I'm going to take this NARS Laguna Quad Eyeshadow Quad. So they did release this as a limited edition eyeshadow quad for the summertime, and this is just one of my favorite palettes that I have used, honestly, in a very long time. I really like how sheer these eyeshadows are. I don't want to say they're sheer. They don't have a ton of pigment when you initially swatch them. Like, I mean, you get good pigmentation, but they are very buildable colors, so they aren't that like really intense shimmer payoff right off the bat. Which I really enjoy because I just like that more natural looking makeup. So I like a more buildable eyeshadow. I like something that isn't super glittery or anything like that. And I just think these colors are perfect because they are neutral leaning warm tones. And honestly, these shades are just incredibly blendable on the eyes. They're very easy to work with. So you don't really have a deep tone in this shade. I think the purpose of this palette is to be that very brightening eyeshadow look that is very subtle. So we don't have a defining eye color, which I am more than okay with. You could go ahead and use an eyeliner, but I'm someone that on an everyday basis, I'm probably not going to go and do that. So I'm just gonna go ahead and take this matte shade right here in this palette, and I'm going to take it on a Sonia G Blender Pro brush. Just picking that up, I always tap off the excess and get that excess product off on the back of my hand, just to make sure that the pigment is evenly distributed on the brush before I work it onto my eyes. And I'm just going to start working this on the outer corner of the eye, just blending that color there. And because that's just where I want the most pigment to be. And then with that excess pigment, I am going to run that through the crease. I'm going to focus it just on the outer corner of the crease. I'm not going to bring it all the way in because I just want a very subtle, defined crease, nothing too intense. And again, this color isn't too crazy dark, but it's not too light either, so it's going to give me just enough definition, kind of similar to what a bronzer would give me. So I really like that for, again, that more natural looking makeup. But you can go ahead and build up that color if you want, so I can just take a little bit more, just apply it to the outer corner, just to get a little bit more pigmentation specifically in that area. And then I'm gonna go ahead and take this gold shade here. It's like just a beautiful sandy gold, which I love. Again, it's more on the neutral side, not too warm toned, but it is just the perfect shade for summertime. And I love that it has that really sophisticated shimmer. It's a really elegant shimmer because there's no glitter chunks in it. It just offers a beautiful sheen on the eyes, no glitter flecks here, and no fallout. And it has a very lovely pigmentation, very buttery eyeshadow. And I just think it makes my eye color pop as well, which I really, really enjoy. And then on that same blending brush that I applied that crease color with, I'm just gonna take the deepest shade in that palette, which is just this beautiful shimmery, it's like a red toned bronze, I want to say, but it's not like a super red toned, it's just a more warmer toned bronze. And I'm going to dip the side of the brush into that shade. Again, tap off the excess, get that excess pigment off. And I'm just going to press that onto the outer corner just to get a little bit of color on that outside corner. You could also use your fingers to apply this sort of color just to get a little bit of that darkness right there specifically. And I'm trying to think. I'll bring it just subtly, very, very, very carefully into the outer crease, but I don't really want to bring that color higher. I don't want to actually bring it into my crease because then it will just look a little bit too dark for my liking. And whatever is left over on that brush that I used to apply that lid color, I'm just going to go over, just over the lid just to make sure I have that intensity there. And then I'm just going to go in with a clean brush that has no product on it and just run over the edges just to ensure that there's no harsh lines. This is what I like to do if I'm not really applying color into the crease, because then it will just ensure that whatever you've applied on the lid and what you've applied as an eye primer, it just has a nice transition so that the edges are very soft and blended into one another, so there's just no harsh lines. And then I am going to take that shimmery sandy color, and I'm going to work on the lower lash line, just picking up that color, and I'm going to apply it from the lower lash line, from the outer corner to the inner corner, adding a little bit of that shimmer there as well. I just went ahead in with my mascara combination. So right now I'm using the Chanel Le Base Mascara. This is the lash primer. I prefer the Dior 3D lash primer, but I'm just trying to use this up. And then I also went in with the YSL Lash Clash Mascara in the shade Brown. I went in with 2 coats of this. Love, love, love this mascara. If you are looking for a brown mascara that does have a good amount of length and volume, I do really recommend this one. It is great at separating the lashes and giving you that really fluffy lash look. I did note in my best of 2023 makeup products so far that the only downfall to this is that when it is really hot out, it does have the tendency to just smudge a little bit. So it is not incredibly, incredibly long wearing in the hot, humid months, but I don't mind because I can just take a Q-tip or my fingertips and just wipe away that smudge. But if you are someone that suffers from, or you have that tendency where mascaras tend to really smudge on you, I just want to give that warning. But I just really love that brown mascara in the summertime, especially because I just, again, like that more natural makeup look. I'm going to move on to the skin, and there are a few different primers that I mentioned. So I have mentioned this Le Beige Healthy Glow Cream in the shade Rosy Beige. However, I know that it is pretty much sold out everywhere and that you cannot get it in the United States. So I'm going to skip applying that on camera, but I am just going to show you, because the Chanel Le Beige Healthy Glow Bronzing Cream, literally the ingredients are the exact same in that primer that are in the bronzer as well. So you can actually use this product as a primer, and I thought I would kind of show that to you. Before I go in with the bronzer though, I'm just going to take this Saie. This is the Glowy Super Gel in the shade Starglow. I really like to use this as a priming product. And I mentioned in my best of 2023 so far that I don't actually like applying this primer all over the skin because I don't want to sheen, especially in like the center of my face where I might have a little bit more pores. So I like to use this as a priming product. I'll just pump out a little bit on my fingertips. It is a gel texture, so it is quite runny. And I like to apply just a little bit to my fingers, and I will apply that to the tops of my cheekbones, a little bit above the brow, and then down the center of the nose. And again, of course, I'll do that to the other side. So I really just like to focus this product on the high points of my face, where I want basically light to be attracted. Like when the light hits my face, I want these areas to have a little bit more life, a little bit more of a sheen, just so I get that multi-dimensional look on my skin. And again, this texture on this priming product is very beautiful because it is a gel texture. So it gives me enough hydration, but it does set down on the skin as well. It's not overly hydrating though. So if you're someone with oily skin, I do still think this product will work for you because it has that dry down consistency to it. And because it is a gel, it's going to be more lightweight on the skin than maybe like an oily primer. But this has kind of replaced my Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter. I will say the Charlotte Hollywood Flawless Filter, it's still a really good product. It just has a little bit more coverage to it and is a little bit more, I want to say like noticeable on the skin. It's not really like super noticeable, but this is even more skin-like and natural than the Charlotte Tilbury product. So I just am really enjoying that. And then I will move on to this Chanel Le Beige Healthy Glow Bronzing Cream. I actually have picked up the shade 390. This is the shade 392 though, so it is a little bit of a deeper shade. And I decided to use this as my kind of priming bronzer for this look, just because I'm going to be applying foundation over top of this. So I want a little bit more of a bronze look, but if I had to choose a shade that I like better, I still think I prefer the 390 shade a little bit more, but I'm still gonna get use out of this shade, especially for the summertime. So I'm gonna pick this up on a Sonia G Classic Base Brush. So I just dip this into the product. Again, I always take the excess off on the back of my hand, and I'm going to kind of do that underpainting technique. So I'm going to focus this where I would apply a bronzer. Alternatively, you could use a brush like this Shiseido. This is the Kabuki brush that I do like to use for foundation. And you can apply it all over the skin as a primer. But I'm going to go over top with a medium coverage foundation, so I don't want to apply this all over the skin as a primer. But you can do that if you want a really beautiful bronzing base. And I especially love this bronzer more so than the previous version. So this is a reformulated product that Chanel released for the summertime. Highly recommend picking this product up if you haven't yet, because honestly, this product is, to me, way better than the Healthy Glow bronzing cream in the full size, because that product has coconut oil in it, and it just offers a little bit more of a glow than what I like in my bronzer. It's hard to really differentiate on the skin, I will say, but like if you're, I don't know, if you're just someone that uses this bronzer on an everyday basis and you're not someone that pays really close attention to detail on your makeup, you might not notice the difference. But for me, someone who is so particular in how my makeup looks, and I really examine my makeup in different lights to ensure that it looks good, I will say that for me, I do notice quite a difference, because this new formulation of the bronzer has that blurring effect. So it gives you that filtered look on your skin, which I absolutely adore. It really softens the look of texture on your skin. It blurs any pores or texture, just adds a soft focus, filtered effect on your cheeks, specifically if you do apply it all over the skin. But I really enjoy this as a bronzing product that offers that blurring technology, because it's just really unique. The only other product I can think that does that is this Chantecaille Anti-Aging Face Tint. Very, very similar, because they are technically both gel bronzers. This one's just more of in like a cream compact, I guess. This Chantecaille is more like an actual cream, almost like a moisturizer, you could say. So it feels a little bit more like hydrating. And I think the Chantecaille one is a little bit more sheer on the skin. The Chanel offers a little bit more pigment, but they do look quite similar on the skin. I would say if you're looking for something specifically for the summertime, this Chanel works really great in the summertime. It's one of my favorite kind of like humidity proof products, because it lasts really, really well, because it is a gel based bronzer. And I think if you have oilier skin, this will work really well. But I do think this bronzer is creamy enough that it works for dry skins as well. Okay, I went in with a lot of bronzer there because I was just applying as I was explaining. But with this underpainting technique, you basically want to apply the bronzer. And because you haven't gone in with foundation, you don't want to completely blend it into the skin. So sometimes it will look like a little harsh initially. But I'm basically going to apply this as a priming product. And then when I go in with foundation, I'm not going to apply foundation over the areas where I've applied that bronzer, because that bronzer has already given me that filtered, blurred effect. So I don't really need coverage in those areas, and I'm just going to blend around the edges. So I'm going to take this is the Peau Radiant Cushion Foundation Dewy in the shade 030 Medium Ochre. I absolutely adore this foundation. So I'm going to just wipe, I have a little paper towel here. I'm going to wipe the excess product off on this Sonia G brush that I used to apply the bronzer. This is the classic base again. And what I like to do with my foundations is I will dip my brush into the foundation. Let's dip it in twice. And then I like to ensure that the product is distributed evenly on this brush so that I don't go in with too much product in one area on my skin. And then I'm just going to apply to the areas where I want the most coverage first. So for me, I kind of have the most discoloration around like my chin and like my jawline here. So I'll just apply there first. And then I'm working towards where I've applied that bronzer. And I'm just going to kind of stipple and softly blend over the edges of that bronzer, but I'm being very careful because I don't want to apply that much product there. I'm going to go over the edges on my forehead. Not going to apply product on my skin in the areas where I've applied that bronzer again. And I love this foundation because, again, all the products that I love have that filtered, blurred effect. So this foundation, it gives really good coverage. It's not a full coverage, but I would say it's a medium coverage. If you go in with a light hand, you can still get that skin-like effect, which I really like to do. I just want to mention that the last place I apply product is on my nose, because when you look at someone in person, it's the most noticeable when you have foundation on your nose and the center of your face, and it will actually look like you have more makeup on your face if you go in with too much product on your nose or in the center of your face. So I like to be very careful in those areas. Anyways, I really like this foundation because it has a really good coverage level without it looking heavy or cakey on the skin. It gives you that filtered, blurred appearance, and it has fantastic longevity. It lasts all day long on my skin without me having to touch up. It doesn't separate, it doesn't crease, it doesn't fade. So the longevity is fantastic. It keeps with that filtered look all day long. Never looks cakey, never looks overdone. I do think if you have oily skin, you could also wear this foundation. You might just need to set it down with a little bit of powder. But to me, even though it's called the Dewy foundation, I don't think it's very dewy on my skin. I'd say it gives me more of like a satin finish, if that, and never looks oily on my skin or anything like that. For me, this is a great summertime foundation because it is incredibly long lasting as well. So I really love with this technique and also how this foundation applies, just going in with that minimal amount of foundation, I can still get that natural look. And you can still see the little bit of glow from that primer underneath that I applied as the priming product underneath the foundation. And you can still see a little bit of that definition from the cream bronzer, but my skin looks really filtered and blurred. And I am next going to go in with this Givenchy Prisme Libre Skin Caring Concealer in the shade N250. So also really love this. I love this because it is a multitasking product. You can use it on the under eye region, and you can also use it for any facial concealing. I love that it is extremely lightweight. The texture of this is a very fluid consistency, but it is extremely lightweight on the under eyes. It does not feel heavy at all. It does not feel cakey. It is not a thick concealer. It has a really good medium coverage level, I would say, and it can be used on any facial marks. Let's see. I don't really want to apply any concealer on my face. I do have a little bit of a sunspot right here, so I'll just go and apply a little bit there, just so I guess you can see. But I really like how this blends onto the under eyes. It does not look heavy at all. It does not look cakey, just extremely thin consistency that has a really good amount of coverage. And it is that perfect, it's like a Goldilocks finish. It's not too matte, but it's not too dewy. It's that perfect natural look on the under eye region. It doesn't have, it doesn't have a sheen, but it has like slight light reflecting, and because of that light refraction that it has, it does add that blurred effect, which, you know, I love. And I just think it looks so skin-like on the under eyes, and the more I use this product, the more I really love it for that skin look that it offers. And I'll just dab this into the skin as well. So you guys know how much I love the Gucci and Valentino blushes this year. I've talked about them nonstop. My favorite shade in the Valentino is definitely number 2. This is the Blush Eye to Cheek in the shade 2. And then I have been really, really loving this new release from Gucci. This is the Cheeks and Eyes powder in the shade 07 True Pink. Absolutely beautiful. I feel like this is the perfect spring, summertime blush. It's just absolutely gorgeous, cool tone pink. Usually I go for more neutral tones, but I have been really playing with the pink shades now that I have dyed my hair darker. So I'm actually just going to mix these two together because I feel like this is like a little bit too baby pink for the bronzy eyes. And I feel like this might help balance it out just a little bit. So I'm going to take this Sonia G Cheek Pro blush, and I'm going to dip into this Gucci blush first. These offer a really great amount of pigment, especially because this brush does pick up quite a bit of product. So I'm just going to dip into that twice, always tapping off the product to make sure that the product is distributed into the bristles in an even amount so that it applies in an even amount and I don't get too much pigmentation in one area on the skin. And you can see I'm just dabbing that product onto the skin. I do not sweep and move my brush around, especially because I have not gone in with powder, like to powder my skin. So I want to ensure that it doesn't move any of the product underneath. So I always pat into the skin. And I just think this is such a beautiful, youthful color. It adds life back to my cheeks, just a very youthful, beautiful blush. And it will work for such a variety of skin tones. Obviously, if you have fair skin, you will just need to be a little bit more light-handed. But if you have a deeper complexion, these sort of shades will look really beautiful as well. So I just love how that looks. And if you are trying to experiment with maybe brighter colors, but they're still intimidating to you, I'm going to personally top this shade with the shade number 2 from Valentino. You could tone it down a little bit by using a shade like number 9 from Valentino, if just maybe you're not so comfortable with these brighter shades. But again, I'm going to take that number 2 shade. I am just going to dip into this blush once, get that excess product off, and then again, work it into the cheeks, kind of going back and forth just to add a little bit more color. I love this shade as well. Such a youthful color. Again, this has such a creamy quality to it. It's basically like a powder to cream product. It looks very skin-like on your skin. It kind of just melts in, and it's just so pretty. To finish off the eyes, I just went ahead and tight lined with this Hourglass Voyer waterproof gel liner in the shade Cave, which is a brown shade. And I'm again picking up this NARS palette and taking this matte brown shade, and again picking this up, dabbing off the excess. I'm just going to start on the outer corner of my eye. I'm going to bring it about halfway across. I'm just finishing off the eye look. I like to add just a little bit of a matte color and make sure to connect it to that upper outer corner. Blend it in slightly, and then that's it. For the lips, I'm going to take this NARS. This is called the Afterglow Lip Balm Brilliance in the shade Fast Lane. I've just been honestly loving this. This has kind of been the only lip color I've been wearing. Perfect hybrid between a lip gloss lipstick. Very sheer pigmentation. I personally don't even use a lip liner, but you obviously can. Before I actually applied my makeup, I did go in with this Summer Fridays lip butter balm in the shade Pink Sugar. So this was on my lips prior, but you can finish off your lips with this too. It's a very comfortable lip balm. I love to just throw this in my bag. It has a really nice scent. It does say it's the color Pink Sugar, but honestly, it's basically just like a slightly pink toned lip balm. It's like a pinky beige. You can barely detect it. And to finish off, I am going to go in with a powder bronzer. So this is the Hermès Plein Air in the shade 02 Atlas. So this is the Healthy Glow Mineral Powder. And I absolutely adore this powder bronzer because it is more of that matte finish. It is a very extremely finely milled bronzer, as you would expect from Hermès. And it offers a sheer level of pigmentation, which I really enjoy because it makes it an incredibly buildable bronzer. It never looks harsh. It is very, very blendable. It almost blends with like no effort on your skin because of how buttery this formula is and just how blendable it is on the skin. And I just really enjoy that I can build it up on the skin. I don't have to be too careful with my application because you're never going to have any harsh lines from this sort of product. It's just beautiful. Has that great blurring technology that I love on the skin. Kind of adds that soft focus effect. It's not that type of powder that's like similar to the Valentino. I mentioned that I really love that bronzer because it kind of has that powder to cream effect. This is different. This is like a typical powder bronzer, but it does not look powdery on the skin at all. It's just so silky and gorgeous. And I'm going to finish off with my Peau Refining Press Powder. This was not released in 2023, but still my holy grail best powder. Taking a Sonia G Face Pro and just pressing it onto the center of the face, a little bit in the middle of the chin because it is summer, down the nose, and the center of the forehead. So that is it for my best makeup of 2023 so far, the Get Ready With Me portion. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And again, please let me know your top 3 favorites from 2023. If you didn't originally in my previous video, I'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like this video if you like it, and I'll see you in my next video.